is a commercial program paid for by Maloney Productions. The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WHNZ AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Working Woman Wednesdays edition of That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. If you're not familiar with the program, we've been doing this segment going all the way back to last February or March, just shortly after the inception of the show, which launched on February 2nd, 2015. The Working Women of Tampa Bay Networking Group focuses on networking events for professional women across the Tampa Bay region. You do not need to be a business owner to be a member of the organization, and they have very cost-effective pricing to get into the community of some 800 members and to do events all across the Tampa Bay region. And so I greatly recommend all the professional women out there to check out one of their events. Jessica invites you out there to one of their events free to see if it's a fit for you, but I definitely recommend getting involved. It is the brand name in professional networking for women across Tampa Bay. And I got Jessica with me this morning on the phone line. So good morning, Jessica. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing great. So first off, let's talk about your foundation, the Working Women Foundation, its role in the community and how this is developing and coming together.
Yeah, so our foundation is about 9 months old, and I think on previous programs, I think actually last month after our conference, we talked about how we gave away about $2,500 worth of seed money that we've given to four women small businesses that are just kind of in the startup phase. So that's one aspect of the foundation. All that money that goes through to the seed money is actually raised by our members at, our events. So, every once in a while we'll do a 50-50 or for our birthday we did a casino party, and all that money went toward the seed money. So it's really great that it's women paying it forward. A lot of women on our organization are small business owners and know what it's like to be in that startup phase.
Have you established this as Have you established it as a 501c3, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Working Women of Tampa Bay, the organization, is not a 501c3,
right,
but we started a 501c3 in January, specifically because not only did we want to be able to give away the seed money, and our eventual goal is to give about $10,000 a year away to at least 10 women small businesses, but also because we were in the middle of launching a mentoring program that we wanted to be part of in a nonprofit space, because what we do is we actually have the mentor and mentee go to lunch, and we cover the lunch. And so we wanted that to be part of a nonprofit instead of just going through our traditional for-profit company.
And we spoke with one of the recipients of the seed money from your conference last month, Serena Correa, founder of the Pixie Dust Paint Company, a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, we're seeing firsthand the impact that your foundation is having on the community.
Yeah, and in November, there's someone from the Junior League who we partnered with, who actually has a company called Old City Calligraphy, and she's going to be showcasing at the Junior League market. And we were just able to present her a check for $500 last week. So we actually are going to present our second round of seed money in November. The third week of November is Global Entrepreneurship Week, and so we're going to do a special event in November where we're going to present another couple $1,000s in seed money, and our applications are right on our website. So if you go to workingwomenfoundation.org, you'll find an application, a link to an application at the bottom of that website. And so, yeah, we're gonna do it again. So if you're a women's small business and you're in the startup phase and you need, $500 to $1,000 to really have an impact on your small startup, then we invite you to go ahead and submit an application. We're going to be judging those applications at the beginning of November.
Wow, incredible component of the Working Women Network that you have grown over the last. How many years have you been since you founded the Working Women of Tampa Bay?
We're going to celebrate 8 years.
Wow, incredible.
Coming up. We're actually have our very first event was at Casatina's, which is a women-owned business in Dunedin. They do delicious Mexican. A lot of people say that they're the best Mexican restaurant in Pinellas County. But so Tina, who owns Casatina's, actually hosted our very first event in November of 2008. So we're actually gonna celebrate back at her location again. And I believe that event's November 17th. We haven't put it on the calendar yet, but we've never done that before. Go back to the location of our very first event. So we figured it might be fun to do it this year.
Now, the mentoring programs that you offer, is that through the general network, or is that part of the foundation? I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, that's part of the foundation. Although you do have to be a member to participate. Where the foundation comes in is we actually have an underwriter, which is Carmelita's Rum, which is a brand new rum company based out of St. Pete. They actually are the sponsor of those lunches. So we'll have 60 pairs go to lunch. We've already done half of those. So 120 women total will get paired, and then they will get to go on a mentoring lunch and we have 3 locations. Ricky P's, the Center Club, and Empress Tea Room, and we cover the cost of their lunch. And the reason why this is so important, and I think your guest today can kind of explain a little bit more about this, but a lot of women see a mentoring relationship as being a burden, right? So they don't want to be a burden on their mentor, and a lot of mentors think that it's sometimes too much of a commitment. But what we're trying to do is take all of the stress out of creating that mentor-mentee relationship. So instead of having someone fight over the bill, after the lunch, which we all do, right, when we're in these business relationships,
right.
we just take that away. They don't even see the bill, so they get to choose wherever they want to go. We make the reservation for them. They show up, and they don't have to worry about gratuity, tax. They don't see the bill. There's not that awkward moment, because mentoring, we want it to be this wonderful experience, and we don't want that weird, awkward moment at the end, like, okay, who pays? Is it the mentor because maybe they make more money, or is it the mentee because they're grateful that they got the advice from the mentor? So
you're
the
right.
foundation allows us to take that awkwardness out of it.
Yeah, you're right about the awkwardness. I think that shuts down a lot of meetings because people just don't know how to broach that topic. It's like, man, we have lunch, and I don't really have the money to pay for that. I don't know how to ask him or her to pay for it. So that's a good component of the relationship that you're establishing right there. Take that out of the picture, and I think a lot more people would meet, and more effective relationships would come out of just instead of losing relationships over a $30 or $40 lunch. And so I commend you for that. Now, how do you select the mentors and the proteges? Is there an application process?
There is an application, and when you are a member of our organization, we usually remind people of that application a couple of times a year. So like the members I think they just got it in their newsletter this month. So if you are a member of our organization of Working Women in Tampa Bay and you have not seen the application, then you definitely need to hit us up on email, which is workingwomenoftampabay@gmail.com. But if you're brand new, if you're out there and you're a small business owner or a professional, because we have mentors and mentees that are both sides, then become a member. And then, you'll definitely get an email. I think actually your welcome email mentions the mentoring program. But we do want to kind of keep it within Working Women as the organization because of the fact that we want these relationships to grow. We don't tell the mentor or the mentee that they have to meet after that lunch. It's really completely up to them if they continue their relationship. But of course that we're hoping for that. And we feel like if they are both members of our organization, they're more likely to continue that relationship, and they should be seeing each other pop up at events too, and they can go to events together. So this, Jamie, because of TBBO, one of the biggest complaints or challenges of networking is, a lot of people are shy and introverts, and they don't like going to networking events. But if you go on this mentor-mentee lunch and you really like your mentor or mentee, now you've got what I call a wing woman who, you can go to lunches with and you can go to some of our social events or our coffees with. So it's almost like having like a built-in networking partner too, which is kind of what we're hoping for, because not everybody enjoys the networking process, and sometimes it's a lot of work for people.
And we're going to be talking to Missy McFarland and the rest of the segment, but tell me a little bit more about her and what we can expect from her. She specializes in public relations, but we'll also be covering mentoring in that segment as well.
Yeah, so what I love about what Missy's doing is I can't wait for her to describe this campaign that they just kicked off, but it's all about getting our community together. And I really feel like that is, really what the last couple of years has been about, this bridging of Tampa and St. Pete, and this way of looking at Tampa Bay as a region instead of 2 different cities or 3 different cities if you count Clearwater. So the campaign that they're launching is really trying to highlight some of the amazing things that are going on in Tampa Bay. And it's a great time to be in Tampa Bay between Riverwalk and the ferry and, all the expansion in downtown Tampa and St. Pete. I mean, I live in St. Pete, and every time I drive, there's a new high-rise going up. So what I love about Missy is, from a PR perspective, they're working on highlighting all the amazing things in Tampa Bay, and they're getting the community involved to do it. And I just love any type of project that allows us to kind of come together. You saw that with, the wall that they did. I can't remember, what was it? What do I want to do before I die?
Yeah,
wall.
it keeps getting
That was
vandalized.
really cool.
Yeah, it keeps getting vandalized. But yeah, before I die.
That's true. Hopefully
Before I die.
stop.
Yeah, the before I die wall over there where the big skyscraper was supposed to go years ago.
Yeah, and and the murals in St. Pete. So there's so many great community projects going on locally that are allowing the community to get engaged. Even with the Uber fight with the PTC.
Right.
As much as that's ugly, at least the community is coming together and rallying around something. And I think that Missy's project is similar to that. So I'm excited for her to share a little bit more about it.
All right, and we'll talk with her coming back from the break. And as always, Jessica, we appreciate the support on Working Women Wednesdays.
Thanks, Jamie. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. And coming back from the break, we will be talking with Missy McFarland. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications, and you can learn more about that ahead of the discussion over at b2communications.com. But we got to hit the break first, so we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to That Business Show. Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa. Celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews, and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews, and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Disabled semi on southbound 275 at Sly Avenue has the right lane and that exit blocked, and delays from before Bierce. Also a crash along westbound I-4 now off to the left-hand side near Orient Road. That had traffic slow back to I-75. Crash on westbound Bierce near Lake Magdalene was in the left-hand lane. And still heavy traffic in St. Pete on southbound 275 between Gandy and 22nd Avenue North. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Eudora Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Foundation for a Better Life.
This is water. Can you feel this, Helen? Yes, water! Helen, it's water!
Deaf and blind, Helen Keller overcame her world of darkness. Foresight, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds with just a 10% chance of showers and storms, high 85. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 70. Tomorrow, a 10% rain chance, high 87.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Working Woman Wednesdays feature the program too, so be sure to visit WorkingWomanOfTampaBay.com and take advantage of their many networking events that go on throughout the community, and they do a lot of them. So check out their events calendar and see how you can get involved with the organization. Time to bring in my guest for the remainder of the program. I have Missy McFarlane. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications, specializing in public relations. And you can learn more about this over at b2communications.com. So, Missy, welcome to the program today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jessica was talking about, uniting the community, something that's, very important to myself, as I'm not a competitive person. I believe in unity before division. And she was talking about how you are working to unite the community through the Tampa Bay 100.
Yes, it's a new publishing platform that we launched last week, actually, on October 5th. And I never thought I would be a publisher editor, but Here we are. We launched this new platform really because we saw a need in the community for a different news outlet. It's all based on the idea of 100-second videos or 100-word articles. So you can read through it really quickly. It comes to you in an email every other week, so you don't have to click off to read what's going on in the Tampa Bay area. So we have a mix of topics, some business, a lot of leisure topics too, because we realize that there's a lot happening in the community, a lot of good things happening in the community, and we wanted an opportunity to highlight them.
Okay, so your firm specializes in public relations. So where did the idea for the Tampa Bay 100 come from? And is this a service of the PR firm that your clients get to be highlighted inside the Tampa Bay 100, or is this kind of independent of your core business?
It is a project of B2 Communications. So our clients get first dibs on topics. So if they want to be a subject matter in finance or in small business loans, our client US Ameribank gets first dibs. We want an opportunity to highlight them, but then we want other sections to cover what's happening in the Tampa Bay area. We don't want it to be completely about B2 clients. We want to make sure that we're providing content that's great for our readers. So the idea actually started out of Atlanta. There's an Atlanta PR firm who started the Atlanta 100 about 3 years ago, and I'd seen it and was really interested in it and thought, how could I bring this to the Tampa Bay area? So we've been talking with them. Sort of talks got serious earlier this year, but saw it working really well in Atlanta, North Carolina, Oklahoma. And
so it's hard to get too wordy and windy if you're limiting the articles to, you say 100 words or 100 seconds. Does that mean you have some videos in there too, links to videos? Is that what that's getting at?
We do. We do CEO Spotlight. So Lee Arnold of Colliers International was our first CEO Spotlight. So we're going to be taking a look at different CEOs around the region, talking about some of their personal passions. It's really interesting what they do to run their business, but what gets Lee excited in the morning when he gets out of bed, and looking at CEOs and finding out what those passions are.
So you're becoming like the Twitter of magazines then. Is that safe to say?
Thankfully, it's a couple more characters than that. But yes, it is tough to write short and to say something meaningful. So it's been a great writing exercise. We are professional communicators who write day in and day out, but it has been a bit of a challenge to make sure that we're.
What's 100 words roughly? That's like a half a paragraph or something. It's really not a whole lot. I write a blog a day, and I usually hit around 1,000 words, and so if I had to limit that to 100 words, that would be very difficult.
It's about 6 tight sentences.
6 tight sentences. And who is writing the news pieces? Are the contributors writing them themselves? Are you and a staff putting these together based on the talking points that they want to come into the article? How does that come together?
The B2 staff has been writing them and guest publishing with our clients' approval. So we work with them on guest columns on a regular basis. So we're very familiar with their writing style, but we would take guest contributors as well.
Now, what's the frequency of the Tampa Bay 100? You said this is a digital newsletter. How often does it come out, and how do people get inside the newsletter?
It is every other week, so it can arrive in your inbox. You can go to the tampabay100.com and sign up. It's for completely free, and it'll come to your inbox every other week.
The Tampa Bay 100 is the website for that?
Correct.
Okay, so that's separate from the B2 Communications site. So what's going on in Tampa right now that's been highlighted recently inside the newsletter that got you excited? I mean, a lot of people are talking about the Channel Side Project and Jeff Finnick. There's a lot of talk about the PTC right now, maybe a little bit of more of a divisive topic right there, not something you may cover since it's focuses on a division in the community. But what are some of the things that you've highlighted in the newsletter that's got you excited about?
One of the ones that got me really excited is Pick My Kid, which is a Tampa-based startup, just got $1 million in financing from 2 groups. One is a client of ours, Florida Funders. Another group is based out of Orlando, but they're getting the funding that they need to continue to expand. They're in 14 states, a number of schools, and they're a Tampa company that's doing really, really well. So it's great to see them getting the funding that they need. They don't have to go outside of our community to find what they need to continue to grow.
Yes, and I spoke with Pat Abava, who is the founder of Pick My Kid, last year, and he's been on the show twice. But it's interesting because he was on the program before he had that investment, and he came to the show. He had this idea. I kind of understood it, didn't quite get it, and I said, okay, I don't know if this will catch on. But he was in a couple of school districts at that time, and then it really took off. And I saw him put a post on Facebook about 2 weeks ago. He's standing in front of the Microsoft building, wherever they're located at, and says, important meeting today with Microsoft about Pick My Kid. And so it's just coming out of Tampa, and somebody who was on my show talking about this before, became big, made me think, wow, this is an incredible thing coming out of Tampa.
Yeah, and a couple years ago, you may not have been able to do that and get that type of funding, where I feel like the Bay Area has come a long way. We've always been a great community to live and work and play in. But we're really getting to the point where we can have startups that get sustainable funding and can grow into middle and early stage companies to really grow and hire people in our community and give back in our community.
What was something else that you've recently highlighted? A Pick My Kid being a great success story. What else have you highlighted recently in Tampa Bay?
We talked about the Dali Museum exhibit that just opened. It's a food exhibit, which is not a pairing that you would traditionally think of. So for us, we were taking a look at why did they decide to bring in this food exhibit with a world-renowned chef, and can food be considered art? So they're matching up Dali's surrealist paintings with what the chef has been doing at his world-renowned restaurant. So we thought that was a really interesting pairing.
Good information here in this first half of the Working Women Wednesdays feature. We got a lot more with Missy McFarland when we come back from the break. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications, where they specialize in public relations. And she was just also talking about her latest project, the Tampa 100, a newsletter available for the community free of charge. Visit the Tampa Bay 100 to subscribe to that. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Bill Meyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Bill Meyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Towards downtown. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson, New York. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by CompleteFlorida.org. Worried you don't have what it takes to finish your college degree? Your Complete Florida coach knows what you need and will help you each step of the way. There's never been a better time. Get started and meet your coach at CompleteFlorida.org. Funded by the state of Florida.
1250 winds, weather center forecast. Comfortable day, mid-80s for the high. Partly sunny skies, a few scattered clouds. Not much of a chance of a shower at all. Tonight's low around 70. Just a touch warmer over the next couple of days as we close the week out, nearing those upper 80s. Impact Radio, 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 WINS WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. We're here weekday mornings, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We're live here each and every morning on the program, and you can see the live video stream available over at tampabayradio.com. If you're wondering how to get on the program, you can visit tbsinterview.com to fill out the request form and see the benefits and the requirements of joining the organization. Also, it's a benefit of being a member in the Tampa Bay Business Owners, and also a benefit of the Working Women of Tampa Bay, which we are highlighting today. So you can learn more by talking to Jessica if you're a member of the Working Women of Tampa Bay networking group. Currently talking to Missy McFarland. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications. Learn more at b2communications.com. That's the letter B and the number 2 in the URL. So, Missy, you started this company 7 years ago. Take me through the founding and the launch of the company.
Yeah, we couldn't have started a business at the worst time, the bottom of the market. But the good news to that was we didn't know how good everyone else had it before we started our business. So we were really happy with, how we were growing. And over the past 7 years, it's really grown into one of Central Florida's best public relations
How
firms.
did it start? Did it start with one client that you represented, or did you kind of come up to the plate with a marketing plan and a strategy? How did it come into place?
So Kyle, my business partner Kyle, had come back to this market, and he had the benefit of being laid off. So he had a lot of time on his hands. He was able to find us some clients while I was still working in a different firm. And then together we started the firm. So we partnered with some advertising agencies to begin with, and that's actually a core value that we do today. We know that we can't produce a billboard. We can't do media buying, but we're going to find the right partner for someone who can do those things. We know our core strength is public relations.
And so people hire you primarily, you say, to get in and out of the news. So do you have a directory of different agencies and TV networks, and you do press releases and you blast them out in an email? How do you get the word out to the community?
Yeah, we really specialize in matching up the organization's story with what news outlet is going to tell it most authentically. So we do have directories. We do press releases that go out to the full community. Kind of depends on what the story is, whether it's worthy of doing a press release. Do we feel like that is the best avenue, or is it maybe making a well-placed phone call to one of the producers or reporters that we work with on a regular basis because we know that story is perfect for them?
So you don't necessarily just blast out press releases to a database of media contacts. You look for, strategic placement for the story with the relationships that you've developed in these organizations. Am I safe to say that's a good analysis there?
That is a good analysis. We do take a very targeted approach to it. There are times when we are going to put it out on PR Newswire or send it out to a full distribution. That might be for a big issue. We were working on the pier in St. Petersburg, which was a pretty big issue. So that's a case where we would write a news release about what was happening or a media advisory and send it out to all of the outlets. But we might find little angles of that story and give it to certain outlets.
How would you advise people who just want to send out a press release from time to time? Because I know there's those PR web and PR different services out there that you could pay for. How effective are those, or is that just really just throwing a penny into a big pond or something right there? You'd be lucky if somebody really picks it up or sees it. How would you say?
They can be effective. It depends on kind of what size your organization is. For public companies, they have some SEC requirements that they do have to put things up on the wire. There are some SEO reasons too. If you're launching a new product and people are going to be Googling a particular service or a particular problem, you may want to put it out on PR Newswire or PR Web. For us, we prefer that targeted approach. For someone who's thinking, maybe I want to put a press release out from time to time, I would challenge them to think about, what are you hoping to get out of this? What business challenge are you hoping to solve by putting this press release out? And trying to figure out what is the best way to get to the people that I'm trying to reach. Is it a press release, or is it maybe you need to start a blog? Maybe it's an email newsletter that your company sends out every couple months. Maybe it's every couple weeks. And you're really trying to figure out why you're going through that exercise and figuring out if that's the best
I see some
avenue.
companies who put out a press release every time they hire somebody, no matter what the position is. It's just, I don't know if that's effective. It's just their way of staying in front of people, if that's a viable option for staying in front of people. I mean, what is an effective press release? What should it be focused on? Should it be focused on, something that's going to talk to your consumers that buy your product, for instance?
For us, we do new hire announcements when it's, above a manager or director level. Usually we try to do it when it's someone who's visible in the community, where if we don't put one out, people might wonder what happened to that person. Maybe they worked with them at one company and now they're at company B. Well, now you want them to find that person. So for us, a really great news release adds some context to it. So it doesn't just talk all about the organization. That is part of it. It is your news release. You want to talk about yourself, but putting what you're seeing into context. So adding a couple key paragraphs, finding out, is this part of a trend? Really taking that news lens to it and saying what's interesting or important about what this company wants to announce.
So when people hire your firm, B2 Communications, let's go through the services. You start with communications strategy, how the organization should be communicating who with and how they're doing this. Take us through this service.
Right. So any organization has a key audience, their buyer persona, their donor persona, someone who is their best customer. So we really want to dive into who that best customer is, what are they purchasing, what services are they looking for, and then back into how do we get in front of them? How do we get their attention? What are they reading? What is the company doing that's different that is going to get their attention? So that's really the strategy behind it. We take a look at the business as a whole, and public relations is one part of that business, where some other agencies tend to look at, here's the PR function, we're off on an island. We really want to say, what is the company trying to achieve and how can PR support those goals?
Now, media relations obviously being a huge component of this. Do you act as a spokesperson for the business, or do you write the press releases and send them out and keep it mostly to written communications? How does the media relations component work?
We do work as spokespeople at times. A lot of times we want to prepare our clients to actually go on shows like yours. It's much more authentic. They're in the middle of their industry. They know it best. You know, we certainly can learn it, but it is a little bit more compelling when they come on air and they're doing the interview themselves. So we give them training to do that, how to complete an effective interview, because there is a little bit of an art and science to it.
Now, so you also do crisis communications. Can people come to you with no relationship with you and say, oh my gosh, I'm in this PR crisis. I've never experienced this before. I need some help. I see that's one of your services.
Some of our clients, our relationship started that way. Some of them, they did come in just for assistance with that. And it might not be the typical crisis that you think about, like the BP oil spill. Of course, that's a massive crisis. A lot of the crises that we work on never actually make the news cycle, and we want it to stay that way. So it might be a CEO's done something that they shouldn't have, and they're exiting the company, and we need to communicate that to employees. It might be that an organization who's a nonprofit had some management changes and volunteers aren't happy with what's happened. So it's not necessarily a
crisis, but it's an upset in the day-to-day routine that everybody is used to, such as maybe a replacement in management due to just normal everyday attrition or natural causes or what happens in the business. And so that's one of your services, is helping the business stay on track.
Right. So to us, a crisis is anything that could impact your business. So anything outside the day-to-day, anything that might upset your stakeholders, your board members, your customers. We want to make sure that the company stays afloat and it's business as usual despite something odd that's happening in your organization.
Now, community and industry relations, another area of your business. Do you help identify connections for people in the community? I mean, does the business go beyond just the basic press releases? Do you actually make and facilitate introductions to key members in the community for your clients?
We do, especially for the business service community. So the lawyers that we work for, some commercial real estate brokers, we try to find who their best customer is and where are they going to find them. We work with a law firm called Fisher Phillips. Their target audience is HR managers, HR VPs. We want to help them get into HR Tampa. We want them to provide CLEs for corporate counselors. So we help them figure out, who do I want to reach, and then what groups do I need to get involved in the community so that I'm meeting people like that.
How do you incorporate social media into your marketing or PR strategy, I should say?
So it's not perfect for everyone, which is not the answer everyone wants to hear. They say, well, everyone has to have a Twitter account. Everyone needs a Facebook. But there are certain business-to-business organizations that it might not be a perfect fit for. They might be better off being in LinkedIn, where they're going to make those business connections. So we take a strategic look at how are they going to reach the people that matter to their business, and then create a strategy for social media around that. And oftentimes we'll run those accounts for them.
And so it's not necessarily advisable to be on all the social media outlets from your perspective, just be on the ones where your consumers are at. I know I try to stay on all of them, but then again, I got people helping me for people that are, shorthanded in terms of, their service providers. Yeah. Focusing on one social media outlet.
Yeah. We'd rather start small, do one really, really well before you add 4 or 5 to the mix, because it can be a lot to keep up with.
Content development. Now, do you go through and help people with their website development and also creating the content for newsletters, for instance? How does this come into play?
We do. So we help clients that have e-newsletters. We'll write all the content and find the images to go along with it. We'll track the open rates. We'll do the full gamut of putting out an email newsletter. And what that does is help people stay top of mind. We had worked with a construction company who wanted to do a newsletter during the downturn because they were finding people were forgetting that they were there, but they might have had smaller projects to do. So for them, it actually helped bolster their business, where past customers were coming back and saying, well, gosh, I didn't realize that you had this project going on. I want to do that.
B2, what does that mean? B2 Communications, where did that number come from, or why is that number?
So B2 stands for the people we reach. So we do business-to-business communication, business-to-consumer, and business-to-government.
And so what is your niche client? Do you work with the average, small business owner, maybe the solopreneur, or do you also work with the larger companies? So, I mean, what is your niche client out there?
Our perfect client is a growing business with a great story to tell. That might be a solopreneur who's growing. It might be a public company. We've worked with all of them.
And I see you have a number of clients, Colliers, U.S. Ameribank, Paramedics Plus, and so you've developed quite a large number of clients. What do you attest that growth in client base to? Is it referral, word of mouth? How have you been able to place so many clients in 7 years?
So many of our clients come from word of mouth. We believe first in doing a great job for the clients that are with us, and that generates great referrals to their other clients. So Paramedics Plus, we started working in Pinellas County with them. They run Sunstar Paramedics, the 911 service provider in Pinellas County. Now we're working with 4 of their operations across the country.
Referrals are always the best way to generate business. I always say that's how businesses grow. All the other marketing stuff that people do provides a backdrop so that people are aware of it, but it's not until you get those referrals that you really start to grow. So that's a good point that you help us solidify, because I talk about that on the program a lot of times here. Got to take a break here. Currently listening to the Working Women Wednesdays edition of the program. In studio with Missy McFarland. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications. Learn more at B2Communications.com, and that's the letter B and the number 2, communications.com. And you can give her a call at 727-895-5030. Again, 727-895-5030. Again, specializing in public relations for your business. You're listening to That Business Show. Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Crash on westbound I-4 near MLK off to the left-hand side, still causing some delays from before 301. Also seeing delays on southbound 275 from just south of Beers to around Sly. Had a disabled semi on the exit ramp to Sly. Northbound 275, just a bit of a slowdown off the Howard Franklin Bridge. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson, New York, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Dex Imaging. When it comes to digital copiers and printers, nobody performs like Dex. Partner with an office imaging company that puts you first. Visit them at deximaging.com. That's deximaging.com.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds with just a 10% chance of showers and storms, high 85. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 70. Tomorrow, a 10% rain chance, high 87.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to the Working Woman Wednesdays edition of That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Talking to Missy McFarlane, co-founder and principal of B2 Communications, a firm specializing in public relations, and learn more at b2communications.com. Missy, I see you're also the co-organizer of the TEDx Oldsmar Women Group. Tell us about this.
I am. It's a really exciting event happening October 27th. We're going to be showing two of the sessions from the sold-out TEDx Women Conference that's happening in San Francisco. We realize everyone's interested in TED, but they can't exactly fly to San Francisco and spend 3 days doing it. So we picked two sessions that we thought would really resonate with folks in the Tampa Bay area. And those two ideas are busyness and social change.
And for people that are not familiar with TEDx, these are a series of talks, and I've not even sat in on one yet, but I hear about them all the time. So for people that aren't familiar with TEDx, explain that to us.
So TED is ideas that we're spreading, and the whole concept behind it is it's a maximum of 18 minutes. So any particular talk, it's not a long lecture that people are accustomed to from college. It's very short. It's usually very interesting and very poignant. So for us, we're doing a live stream. So the presenters are not actually going to be in Oldsmar, but people will be watching it as it happens in real time as people in San Francisco are watching it.
Okay. Now, come back to the PR talk. One of the things that's difficult with any type of marketing group or a public relations group is measuring the success or the results of the campaign. I had somebody ask me recently, it was kind of funny, made me laugh. He's like, do you know any PR companies that work on a results-based commission? I said, it's a little bit subjective, but if you find anything, let me know. I mean, it's difficult to really measure results and quantify it, into an inarguable, a number. So how do you measure your success, or how do you offer that back to your clients when you're talking to them?
It's different for every client. So we try to tie our work into what matters most to the organization, and what matters to organization A doesn't always matter to organization B. So, for example, some of our work with SPCA Tampa Bay has been getting people enrolled in their SNFU program. It's a dog training program. So when we have them on TV, we track how many people are going to the SNFU pages on their website and how many people are registering. So success for us looks like getting registrations for their puppy preschool.
Okay, but when you send out like press releases, there's really no way to gauge, a success or a failure on that. I mean, if they get like an interview from that, or if their message, got out to so many people, that's hard to measure and report back to your clients. I mean, how do you have those discussions with them with regard to effectiveness of the release that went out?
A lot of times it's a long-term process. So we call it a drip campaign, because one release by itself may not be all that effective. It might generate a little bit of awareness, but seeing someone positioned as a subject matter expert month after month in an interview after interview, someone starts having faith that this person is credible, that they know what they're talking about because they're providing helpful, interesting information.
Now, do you offer a la carte services? Maybe somebody just needs a press release sent out and we don't want to be locked into any type of a contract. How do your services work? How do contracts work? How do a la carte services work? Tell me about that.
A lot of times it works best for us to work on a retainer, which means we're working with a client day in and day out for a few months at a time because it is such a long-term process. That doesn't mean we wouldn't consider a project. We just see it being much more effective when we really get to understand the company, what makes it tick, what are their plans for growth. That way we can be looking for opportunities around the clock, not just in a finite time period.
Now, do you offer media coaching services for people? A lot of people have difficulty getting behind a microphone. I still myself have issues when talking to a crowd I can see. I'm good behind a microphone when I can't see the audience, but I get in front of a group of people, not as on as I like to be. But do you provide services for speaking and coaching with regard to public relations?
We do. It's I have to say, even the most confident speaker gets a little bit rattled whenever they see the big typical TV camera right in their face. It's not something if you don't do it every day, it does throw you off your game a little bit. So we do a lot of coaching to help people get comfortable with being in the spotlight, whether that's in front of crowds of 100 or even 20, or it's doing a live interview on TV.
What has been your biggest success now in the last 7 years? You've obviously, the success of growing the company, is a huge success in and of itself. But, what has been your biggest success, and what have you learned, from failures along the way? What advice basically would you give then to others in the community that are in, some level of a business just starting?
I think change for me is always something that is exciting. It's not exciting for everyone. Some people aren't great with change, but if you're not constantly evolving and thinking about how can I do this better, how can I do it different, that is one of my biggest tips for people who are starting a business or growing a business. Be comfortable with change and be willing to change, because the market changes a lot of things, and being flexible can help you succeed.
Now, you've grown this company into one of West Central Florida's top public relations agencies. You started this 7 years ago with your partner, Kyle Parks. I always like to ask this question. When is it that you knew that you had something big? Because everybody, even, when I've started a business, it's like I always go into something thinking, this probably isn't going to work, so I'm going to just enjoy what I can. But then it gets to a point like, wow, this is really something. Do you remember having that aha moment in your business?
I continue to have them, which is the fun part. We were meeting with a client about 2 weeks ago, and we presented a communications plan to them, and their reaction, they just loved it. They're like, do you have this place bugged? Because you are in our head. You know exactly what we need and what we need to do to succeed next year. And for me, that's always validation. That's like, we're doing something right here.
Right. For me, it was when I did my first award show dinner last year, and I at the end of the year, at the end of 2015, it's like I created such a buzz, and I guess I was like kind of nervous about even putting it out there. So I didn't know what the buy-in was going to be, but I ended up selling out the event in 3 days at the Center Club. I had 150 people in the room, including Joe Madden, his wife, and Anthony Sullivan. And so it was from that moment on that I was like, wow, I really created something. And so for me, that was like my moment of, wow, this is something that could grow into something. And so
that's a big validation. It's not easy to sell tickets.
It is. And so I always wonder with others, when did you know that you had something bigger than what you ever anticipated it becoming? And for me, that was mine. And I like to ask that question from time to time. You're a member of Working Women of Tampa Bay. Tell me about your involvement in the organization and how that has benefited your organization.
So I was really interested. I knew Jessica back when she was in the news business. So when she had launched this organization, I was really interested to see how it was going to grow and evolve. And I've been a member in and out throughout the organization's history. And for me, it's been really empowering to see other women growing businesses and being more confident in starting a business.
Well, good discussion with Missy McFarland. She is the co-founder and principal of B2 Communications, and you can learn more at b2communications.com, again, specializing in public relations. So, Missy, thank you so much for being in studio today. Good discussion.
Thanks for having me.
And also take advantage of her free newsletter, which is bringing together the community. You can visit the Tampa Bay 100, and you can subscribe to their free newsletter. It will be delivered to you via email. And again, the focus is on what's going on in the community and stories that are 100 words or 100 seconds or less. So visit the TampaBay100.com and register for that newsletter. Also, learn more about the Working Women of Tampa Bay over at that website, workingwomenoftampabay.com. And also, you can learn more about this program over at TampaBayRadio.com. And please connect with me all across social media. You'll find us on just about every outlet. You've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.